Hola chicos, necesitas sacar el paquete de gramática porque hoy vamos a tomar apuntes sobre algunos verbos que son irregulares en el pretérito. So today we are going to be focusing on the preterite of IR stem changing verbs. We have a lot of IR stem changing verbs in the present tense, like dormir, and today we're going to be talking about some of the preterite IR stem changing verbs and how they are irregular. Remember, most English verbs in the past tense have the same form, no matter who the subject is, like I asked, you asked, they asked. However, in Spanish, some verbs change their stem in the past tense, depending on the person who carries out the action. Remember, for instance, when we look at the verb hablar, when I say the word stem, I'm talking about the HABL, the habla, whatever is left over after I take off my AR ending. It's important that you know what the stem of a verb is, especially during these notes, because we're talking about stem changers. So as I already said, we have a ton of IR verbs that stem change in the present tense. These verbs are also going to stem change in the preterite tense, but just in two particular forms. So only some of the forms are going to do the stem change. Stem changing IR verbs in the preterite tense only change in the LAO usted form and the ellos, ellas, ustedes form. You will often hear these verbs referred to as sole verbs, like SOLE, like the sole of your shoe, or flip-flop verbs, which is kind of the same thing. Some teachers are going to say sole verbs, some teachers are going to say flip-flop. We're going to stick with sole because that's what most of the Spanish teachers here at Lindbergh say. So remember, the sole of the shoe is the bottom, and these are the two bottom forms, the LAO usted and the ellos, ellas, ustedes. The only two that are going to have the stem change. An example of an IR stem changing verb in both the present tense and the preterite tense is pedir, to ask for or to order. Pedir is going to have an E to I stem change, but only in the sole. So we got pedi, pediste, pidió, I had a stem change, pedimos, and pidieron, another stem change. Again, pedir is an example of an E to I stem changer, but in the preterite, it only does the stem change in the LAO usted form and the ellos, ellas, ustedes form. The sole of the shoe, the two bottom. Sorry about the bell. Another example of an IR stem changing verb in both the present tense and the preterite tense is dormir. Dormir has an O to UE stem change in the present tense. In the preterite tense, it's going to have an O to U stem change. Let's see how that's going to play out. Dormí, dormiste, durmió, dormimos, and durmieron. So you can see that dormir in the preterite is an O to U stem changer in the sole of the shoe, and only the bottom two, the LAO usted and the ellos, ellas, ustedes forms, do I do the O to U stem change. Here we have two examples of IR stem changing verbs used in sentences. Que pidieron en el mercado, what did they ask for at the market? And Zulma durmió 10 horas anoche. Zulma slept 10 hours last night. Here are some other E to I preterite stem changing verbs that follow the pattern of pedir. It would be good to make sure that you know what these verbs mean and also to recognize that they are E to I stem changers. Preferir, to prefer, servir, to serve, vestirse, to get dressed, competir, to compete, and seguir, follow. Then we have two examples over here on the side. Quienes compitieron en el campeonato, who competed in the championship, and nosotros competimos y ganamos. We competed and we won. Remember, we only do the stem change in the sole of the shoe, in the LAO usted form and the ellos, ellas, ustedes form. Off the top of my head right now, I can only think one other O to U, IR stem changing verb in the preterite, which would be morir, M-O-R-I-R, which means to die. And that is O to U stem changer in the sole of the shoe. That's the only one I can think of right now off the top of my head. So make sure you remember to take your Google quiz, and if you have any questions tomorrow, ask them in class.